members of the OG Army. Get those wallets unfolded. Coming up next on the OtherGround live stage, prepare for an eargasm by Passive J and Big Dalton.
Well, good afternoon, and welcome to yet another edition of the OtherGround Live. I'm Passive J. That's Big Dalton over there. Say hello, Ryan.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is July the 18th. It is a Saturday. And God damn it, Jay, I'm going to have to start out the podcast with bad news and an apology. What the hell is up with that?
Well, I know that's rare. I see the OG Army starting to form up in the chat box. Always glad to see you guys here. What's wrong, Ryan?
So I'm not going to be able to do a fight companion this evening. I got a call earlier on this morning that a bunch of people are getting together tonight, apparently because my birthday was yesterday. And we have the head chef of a local Italian place that's going to take over someone's kitchen and have a night full of really fucking good food. And I'm sorry, it's more of a draw than you people.
Well, at first, I was going to say that's some bullshit, man. Just 'cause some people called you up and wanted you to hang out. But considering they're doing it because it's your birthday, so that's what the entire group's going out for, I think that's a reasonable excuse, sir.
Yeah, and it's not even necessarily going out. We're heading out to a friend of ours' place that has, quite a bit of room. Take the dogs out there. Everybody let them just kind of run around a good, acre and a half while we get to sit around, have a few beverages, and have a goddamn amazing cook take over all of the food prep.
Yeah, and you'll still end up probably watching the fights over there anyway, so we'll have something to talk about tomorrow regardless.
Yeah, so one thing I found out, so I just got back. I took the dogs out for a bit to the beach and just kind of hung out a bit. Apparently the fight started at 5 o'clock.
Really? So those suckers are already on. I didn't even turn my TV on. Shit. Maybe we should do that, huh?
Yeah, apparently this is the early prelims. I think the official prelims start literally right now, and the main card starts at 8 o'clock.
Wow. Where are they? Oh, because they're over at Fight Island. I guess they decided not to do their normal hours since it doesn't really matter over there, huh?
Yeah, so I guess they slightly changed the time since this isn't, a pay-per-view, so I guess they don't need to try to maintain the optimal timing for the West Coast people. So, yeah, I guess it's damn near 2 hours earlier.
Oh, god damn. On one hand, that upsets me. On the other hand, I didn't know who the fuck was fighting on the early prelims anyways. I mean, we went over and did the fight picks, but I didn't know who fucking hardly anybody was. So it's not like I missed my favorite fighter. But I am going to load this shit up onto the old PlayStation 4 and go over to ESPN Plus and throw those on there while we are talking in case there's something cool that we can discuss.
Yeah, I'm going to do the same thing. I have them pulled up on a second monitor here. But yeah, this is one of those interesting things where this was the early prelims, and I feel bad that I had to pick all of these people based on name, their nickname, and what they looked like. Yeah. I feel like I'm, doing some sort of disservice to the sport by not knowing who most of these people are.
Well, yes and no. Obviously, as fans of the sport, we both probably should know who all these people are. But on the other hand, since I've gotten into MMA and you were into it way earlier than I was, they've opened up so many divisions and added so many people that I don't think it's really unreasonable not to be able to keep track of all of them. I mean, there's literally at least 3 times as many fucking people in the UFC fighting actively as when I first started watching it back in 2005.
Yeah, it is getting a little ridiculous that, you can have fights 3 times a week and there's a roster to support that.
Yeah. It's good. I mean, more people in MMA are is always a good thing because the more people that are in there, I'm sorry, I'm trying to do 2 things at once. The more things that are in there, the higher the talent level is. You're going to have a lot more good fighters when you have 300 fighters than if you have 30. But as we mentioned, it does make it a lot harder to keep track of them.
I know, right? If it was this big when I was still fighting, I would have had a goddamn shot to be on the roster and get fed to some up-and-coming awesome fighter.
Well, that doesn't sound like something to be too terribly sad that didn't happen. I mean, it is cool. It would be cool to say you fought in the UFC, but fighting in the UFC and getting your ass handed to you is not really something that you want on your record one way or another.
Hey, it's better than losing a fight in front of like 310 people. I've done that before too.
Well, I've lost a fight in front of about 20 people, maybe 30. I can't remember how many were at that party, but that's probably not the same feeling.
Yeah, I have a feeling that one is slightly different. This was, I'm out there in a cage, in a pair of shorts and virtually nothing else, getting elbowed in the face. Yeah, I think you at your party is a slightly different dynamic.
Yeah. Mostly, I wasn't in a cage. I was surrounded by people in a living room. And I wasn't getting elbowed in the face because people didn't know how to do that shit. But I was getting punched in the face, which I don't recommend. I've been actually in quite a few fights, and I've lost almost every single fucking one of them. Because back then I was just skinny and scrawny, I had no clue what I was doing. I still technically don't know what I'm doing, but I firmly believe, and I've joked about this before, but I believe it's true. I've watched enough MMA that I, as long as the guy is not too fast for me, I think I do okay in a fight because I know what you're supposed to do. I mean, I've never practiced any of it, so obviously I wouldn't be able to throw a punch worth of shit or anything that kind of stuff. But I understand the strategy of a fight now a lot better than when I was younger.
Yeah, I think the problem now is you'd get your ass kicked, but you would understand what's going on the entire time. You'd be like, I just got hit with a jab and then a left hook. That sucks.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I am fucking, old for one thing, and as I mentioned, I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm taller than the average guy. I have better reach than the average guy, and I have to think I'm probably in better shape than the average guy. I don't think the average guy works out 5 days a week for somewhere between a half an hour and an hour a day. So I do have a couple advantages. The disadvantages being I'm slow as fucking clumsy.
Yeah, those aren't good things when it comes to a fight.
No, they're not. They are not. I've learned that the hard way. That I'm not. I don't think I'm even as fast as the average person. So that's always been an issue. Because of course the best way to fight me is to get inside my range, and I've had that happen to me a few times by really short dudes that they could just get inside and work me.
Yeah, see, I would think the best way to fight you would be to kick you in the legs.
That's entirely possible, but I do know the theory of checking a kick, if not the actual application of it. I know you don't just stand there and take the kick. You're supposed to, yeah. But knowing that you're not supposed to take the kick and being able to avoid taking it might be two different things.
Yeah, I would just see someone like you and just figure that, you have Corey Hill legs. And if I chop at it a couple times, you'll probably just not want to, be in the fight anymore.
Well, we are working on that. Today was leg day, actually. So there you go. You know what? I'm having a problem with this week. I keep on underestimating how much weight I can lift because I think it's because I went from a rest week where the weights were, supposed to be lighter on purpose. So now that I'm adding weights back on for what seems to be a heavier week, every time I do a lift, I feel like I possibly didn't add enough because it feels like I had a little bit left in me. And I don't like that. That bums me out. It makes me feel like I wasted a workout. I mean, obviously any workout's not a wasted workout. But for instance, like you had me doing squats, 4 sets of 4. And I felt like, and I had no problem doing them. So I felt like despite the fact that I added 10 pounds to what I did last time, on Wednesday, it still didn't feel like enough.
Yeah, I think part of it. So when you get through this initial 6 months, I think you're going to finally get to the point that like your second run through this, I think you're going to get a lot more out of it. If nothing else, that last month of the program where you're actually peaking, like I want you going to the point where you're pretty much failing at almost every lift. You're really getting to the point where you're truly figuring out what your max range is for these things. And then the second time through, you can actually start calculating it. So I think a lot of what you're doing now is just kind of going by feel and just throwing on weight, like what you would think would be near the percentages. Whereas the next time through, like before you start the next, 6 months of lifting, you'll actually document like these are my max weights. And now you know what those percentages need to be.
Right. Rather than the way I did it now was like, because there's so many, a lot of calculators that say, okay, how much weight did you lift and how many times did you do it? Okay, your max the lift is probably about this, which is what I've always used for that. So I'm not sure how accurate it is because I've never wanted to get close enough to find out if it was accurate or not. Because I never saw any point in doing a max lift. I just before we started getting this sort of thing, I figured there was no reason to. You could hurt yourself trying to lift as much as you possibly can, and there's no real reason to do it. So I've never maxed out anything before. Um, I've always used like the rep calculator. So it's like if you can lift 150 pounds 5 times, that means this is your max lift is probably 175 or some whatever the bullshit calculator told me. As you mentioned, after this 6 months, I should probably just load on as much as I can and see if I can lift it or not.
Well, you'll actually get there. So when you get to the last few weeks of the program, you will get to the point where it's saying use 100%, which means you should be working up to what is essentially 100%.
Right. But don't get me wrong, I'm happy with the progress, especially after the last deload week. I've noticed I'm substantially stronger than when I first started this workout. It's been about 3 months, I think, right? I'd have to look at the programming data to tell you exactly.
Well, yeah, you're into a strength block now, which would be the 3rd month.
Okay, yeah. So I did it 2 months, and I'm working on the 3rd month then, huh?
Yeah, and you only had to redo 1 week.
Yeah. I redid. I restarted week 1 because all the issues I had the first time I started it, which was a good idea. There wasn't any point in going to week 2. Let's see. Where am I? Yeah, I did have a couple issues. Like on Wednesday, excuse me, on Thursday, which is my deadlift day, you had asked me to do something called back raise, and I looked all through the internet, and I couldn't find any way to do it without. I wasn't even sure because I guess there's a back extension, which is a different thing than a back raise. But I couldn't find any way to do that without equipment. Am I missing something? Did I misunderstand?
No, I think it is one of those things that you just don't have anything that you could really do it with. So again, anything like that I have an exercise that you don't have equipment for, or you can't kind of figure out just a way to do it, just look up that lift and see what, muscles it's targeting, and then just substitute a lift that does kind of the same thing.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I skipped it that time because I wasn't quite sure what to do, and I'd already spent like 5 minutes where I should be working out, doing Google search for it. So next time I hit that, I'll definitely do that instead. It's interesting. You've also started to throw some back exercises into the bench day, the back user's choice. And I knew exactly what I wanted to do with that one. Bent over rows.
Yeah. So bent over rows are a good idea any bench day anyway. So I think this may end up being our Sober October thing. I may add this in that both of us have to do 100 reps of bench and bent over rows every day of the month.
Ooh, okay, that'd be interesting. Bent over rows was definitely my best lift. Back in January when I first started trying to lift again, I made a thread about it, and for a while I was telling people, showing people my numbers and the tenor of the year. Actually, I think he mentioned it that for who I am, my bent over row was actually fairly impressive. I think at one point I was working out with, before I got sick, 170 pounds, 5 sets of 5 with it, which isn't a ton, but for me that's not too bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Like really, if you think about it, really where you want to be, and like a great goal for some people to have is to be able to do exactly what you are on the bench. So like if I had a workout going where I was going to do, say 315 pounds for sets of 8, in between those sets, I should be able to do bent over rows of 315 pounds for sets of 8.
And that's pretty much where I was before I got sick. Because I weighed somewhere between 190 and 205, depending on how fatty I was. I wasn't fat, but yeah, I went up and down because I wanted to add weight without adding fat. So it was somewhere around that range. And my best numbers were, like I said, somewhere around 175, maybe even 180 for bent over rows. I would think I was working out with 180 for my bench press, 5 sets of 5, which is not a lot, but I knew for a fact that if you could bench your body weight, you were doing at least okay health-wise. And since I was pretty close to my body weight, wasn't thrilled with the numbers, but I wasn't super disappointed.
Yeah, I mean, it's not bad. I would think with someone like you, we should at least get you to the point where you're benching at least 225 for probably sets of like 5 to 10. I think it's going to take a little bit to get there, but like I see no reason why you can't be there. Especially, hey, we're coming up a few weeks away from, you getting roided to the gills.
The guy might not give me anything. That's we do have to keep that in mind. I'm just going to see the dude. Technically, if my numbers are good, he shouldn't do anything about it. And you never know, my testosterone and all that shit might be fine.
At your age, I doubt it. Like, you should be at the point where it is going down to the point that you probably should be on something.
Right. But the only question is if this doctor thinks so. Because if mine are just normal low for my age, he might not do anything. He goes, yeah, that's about where they're supposed to be for a 47-year-old dude.
Well, and that's when you go back.
Not.
No, but that's when you talk back to him and be like, well, see, that's not the point. I need to be at, like, what would be a good range for someone that isn't on the decline of life.
Right. Like, that's a good idea. I should probably, if he says something like that, I should probably go, well, honestly, I'd prefer if they were at the same levels as when I was younger, because it's interfering with my life.
Yeah, just like there are, and I hate to say it because it's not necessarily the most ethical thing to do, but there are guides out there as far as what you should be doing, like what you should. Well, a lot of this doesn't apply to you because there's a lot of like diet stuff that you wouldn't be able to do. But there are things that you can do to condition yourself to go into that meeting with an endocrinologist to make sure that you test as poorly as possible.
Right. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. I don't know. I might look into that, but we'll see. Hopefully the dude will just help me out because.
Well, part of it I think you're naturally doing. Like, it's the night before, don't get much sleep, which you probably won't. There are some. Yeah, there are some food things. There are other things like regarding workouts close to that. Like, and I don't remember, I haven't read this stuff forever, but I think it's like the day before, just have like an absolutely crushing workout, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah, that's we will look into that. Why not? Oh, I see on the fight someone got a fairly nice triangle choke. Did you see that, sir?
Yeah, I think I got that fight wrong because I think it was the Flash Gordon guy or whatever was the guy that lost.
No, that was Flash was the last set of fights, wasn't it?
I don't know. It was a black guy with the last name Gordon. I think I picked him.
Oh, well, yeah, he certainly did not win. So we don't have that going for us. I think I picked against you though, so I'm doing pretty good. I'm just gonna assume I did anyways, just because you naturally pick against me whenever you're not sure.
Well, depending. So I also pick against everybody from the UK. So there's also that.
Yeah, that's not discrimination at all.
Well, they're just not very good fighters.
They're not very good trained fighters. I assume they're pretty good at a bar fight. The average British dude seems pretty tough. Seems like he's a tough dude. It wouldn't surprise me if they weren't, at least good bar fighters.
I don't know. They might be terrible bar fighters. They're not exactly the English, but remember Conor McGregor? He's a hell of a mixed martial artist, and he couldn't even knock out a 60-year-old in a bar.
God, that is so fucking silly. What could somebody... First off, if you're in a bar, you're supposed to be having a good time. What could possibly, someone say to you that would make you fucking go off that bad? That's why I stopped going to bars after a while.
He probably told Connor that, proper 12 tastes like rat piss.
Oh, see, you can't beat up somebody just because they're honest. That's not right.
Well, you can. You're not in the right in doing so.
That's very true. Yeah. That's one of the reasons why I stopped going to the bar. Fucking, it's just more bullshit than it's worth. Well, that's partially true. And another one of the reasons is I had a drinking problem, and I decided if I'm going to be fucking pass out drunk, not remember what I'm doing, I'd rather do it at home. Because I got tired of going to the bar and having them tell me the shit I said and did the night before, and me not be able to argue with them because I couldn't remember.
Yeah, I stopped going to bars after I had worked in bars. Like, I just didn't see the point anymore. Like, yes, I could go have a drink, but like I've seen all of the stupid things that can go wrong. I just don't want to be there for it anymore. So, yeah, that was my undoing.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, once you're aware of all the various situations that exist in a bar, you have to have a really good reason to be in one. Yeah, I mean, like I assume if you're, you know, chasing after ladies, that's a good reason to be in the bar. But right around the time I decided I wasn't going to go to the bar anymore, internet dating started being a thing. So I didn't need to go, um, out to the bar anymore to meet women because I was spectacularly unsuccessful at that, anyways. Uh, this might be a surprise to you guys, knowing how friendly I am, but I'm super duper uncomfortable walking up to somebody I don't know and trying to strike up a conversation.
See, I was the absolute king of just the absolutely like most ridiculous pickup lines ever. Like the ones that were just so like overtly crazy that they work.
Example, please.
You just walk up and be like, "Hey, got a question for you. What has two buns and would be much better with some nice meat in the middle?" And they just look at you. I'm like, I'm talking about a fucking sandwich. I'm hungry as hell, and this bar sucks for food.
Did that work out for you?
Well, I've had crazy things work out before.
Yeah.
It's all about having at least somewhat of a sense of humor. And also by saying those things that are just like super overtly suggestive and then following it up with something that's not suggestive at all. Like that's when you can tell the people that don't take themselves too seriously. Because if you get offended by that, like you're going to be a boring goddamn person anyway. So it's like an automatic like barometer of, do I even want to continue talking to this person? So may as well get rid of the people that are, up their own ass.
Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't do well in bars at all. I did much better in online dating. It turns out if you give me time to think of what I'm going to say and then type it out, I tend to do well. Like I'm really good at setting up an internet profile, apparently, because despite the fact that I use my actual pictures, I got lots of hits on like on OkCupid, Plenty of Fish, all those kinds of sites. My issue was I was rarely able to get a second date.
So you completely failed expectations once you had to think on your feet.
Yeah, yeah. Which is kind of weird because I'll be honest with you, I got laid more often than I didn't on a first date. But it seemed like after that was it. That's not true. I guess I had some second dates, but just nothing seemed to work out right for me on online dating. And eventually, I got tired of that shit because online dating has its own different rules set of crazy compared to the bars. But it still does have its crazy. Did you ever do any online dating, dude?
Not much, no. Just because it is a complete sea of insane women or single mothers, and I'm good on both.
Right. Well, and there was a fair amount of that because, honestly speaking, your average woman doesn't need to go to the internet to find dates. Now, does not always hold true. I did meet some completely normal people that liked the idea of online dating because you got to know the person a little bit better before just as opposed to just randomly meeting someone in a bar or something like that. Some women, because I imagine most women have guys come up and hit on them all the time. So, that's not an issue for them. Some of them just like the ability to get to know the person a little bit better before they met face to face. Um, I don't know why I did well, but there was a point when I was going out on dates 3 or 4 nights a fucking week, problem. There was a couple days where I had 2 dates on the same day. Um, Maybe I wasn't picky enough. I don't know.
Well, you cast a wide enough net, you're bound to catch a lot of things. Yeah, some might be, worn over boots. Some might be chlamydia, but you may find a fish now and then.
Yeah, and that's how it worked out. I used the shotgun method of dating. Basically, I just bam. Okay, I sent you a message, sent you a message, sent you a message, sent you a message. I just go through their profiles, and if they God, I can't remember how it was on OkCupid. I can't remember if there was just a interested button, you know, um, just to let them know that you're interested, and then they would go look at your profile or something like that. And since my profile was so fucking awesome, I got lots of responses that way. But I was not shy about, oh, that's a problem. I'm not even sure if I would date her, but let's set an invite. Anyways. Maybe she'll be funny. Doom, doom, boom, boom, boom. So
Yeah, so I think the little bit of online dating I did, I was very focused on exactly what I was going for there. See, what I would go for is I would look for roughly ages like 36 to 42, because you pretty much know that they were just recently divorced. So you know that there's going to be no sort of attachment. They have not had any sort of excitement in their life in probably decades. So you're able to swoop in, completely exceed expectations, and make a quick getaway.
That's funny. Yeah. I don't know. Hey, shit. You got any topics? We're halfway through. We haven't even actually talked about anything yet.
Well, so we have the general COVID thing where someone freaked out about having to wear a mask. This one is interesting. This is at a Verizon store in Sacramento. At least there was no violence this time, but a woman was told to leave. And of course, before she did so, she just went ahead and dropped her pants and took a piss on the floor.
That is violence, if you ask me.
I think it's vile. Man. I don't know about the lengths.
Right, but Jesus Christ, really? I mean, has the entire country gone insane? I shouldn't say that because people are doing fucking stupid shit in other countries about masks too. So has the entire world gone insane? We've had this conversation over and over again about how necessary masks are. And this is the sort of stuff that pisses me off, because this is the sort of reason these sort of things are why I'm going to probably lose my fucking job here in a couple months. I just heard today through the rumor mill, and it's nothing official, that the board's going to vote on closing the club once the warm weather's gone, because nobody wants to come inside to eat. Like we're going to do 100 people tonight, which is a medium sized night, and every single table's fucking outside. And most of them said that if it rains and they can't be under a tent, or if it rains too bad so we have to move everyone inside, they're not fucking showing up. So even right now, when people are eating outside, the club's not getting used enough. So once the fall hits, we might all be out of a fucking job. And I can't do that. I literally can't do that. I will lose my fucking house. We were already out of unemployment. By then we wouldn't have worked enough to replenish it. So my plan, if that fucking happens, is probably sell the house for what I can, move into her parents' house in Florida, because I won't have any other options. I'll lose this job. I won't be able to pick this job back up again next year, because I can't go another fucking 6 months or 8 months unemployed. I just can't. I'll lose my house. I know I said that more times, but I'm really focusing on that.
So have they thought, at least in the interim, of basically kind of like weatherproofing the outdoor area? So like I know we have, and it's actually, I don't know why, but it is a super popular bar here in the town I live that is on this rooftop, and they go year round, and they have like all of like the outdoor heaters and everything else. So no matter at what point during the year, like you can sit down, you can have a meal, you can have drinks out on this rooftop, and it's, a nice like 70 degrees.
They do have outdoor heaters, space heaters, and that's such. The problem being, it's a pretty large open area. We have a tent over one section, and then like in the middle, excuse me, and then patios on either side of it. We call it the north patio, the south patio, and the tent. Normally during normal season, we only serve dinner on the north patio. Now we're using the north patio, the tent, and spilling out to the south patio because no one's going to eat inside. And I think if you weatherproof that enough to make it viable to use once the weather's cold, they wouldn't feel comfortable in there because it'd be feeling closed again.
Yeah, it's a good point. Yeah, it's a fucked up world.
Yeah, and and obviously since my wife works at the same place, she has the same concerns, even more so than me, because there's a chance when it gets cold they might just move to carryouts, so they might keep me around. Probably not. But if they close the clubhouse, she 100% loses her job. She's the ladies' locker room manager, so no ladies' locker room. Right now she's bored off her ass most of the days because she'll have like 5 or 10 ladies come into the locker room. And that's a ridiculously low number compared to normal.
Well, at least if nothing else, so at least for your state, they've handled it relatively well. So I don't necessarily think things will get worse going into the fall.
The issue being right now, it's not good enough. That's why they're talking about closing the club when the fall comes, because right now even even if it has to get better, because right now is not good enough. There's not enough people coming in for to make it viable right now. So if November comes and we haven't had the members significantly increase how much they're using the club, they're going to close it. Um, and I've checked around. I can find other jobs in my field for within a dollar or two, or maybe $3 where I'm working. I haven't found anything that pays what I make now, but I found a couple that are like a couple dollars worth. But the benefits aren't nearly as good. My health insurance costs would go through the roof because I have a really good health insurance thing going on there. Plus, I obviously lose all my vacation time and all that good shit. So it's not something I want to see happen, but I don't know. The future is up in the air for the old Jaster.
Well, that sounds super.
Yeah, sorry, not trying to bring everybody down. What else you got, sir?
Well, in the spirit of bringing everybody down, R.I.P. to John Lewis.
Oh yeah. The was he a senator or yeah, he was a congressman, so he was a senator, right?
Yeah, he was a senator, right? I don't know. I only think of him from the from all of the civil rights movement. I didn't really, follow him too closely in politics.
Right.
He was yeah, he was in the House. I didn't know if he ever made it to the Senate or not, but yeah, Georgia. But very, very influential as far as the civil rights movement. So lost a good one there.
Yep. It's sad. People are dying every day. That one doesn't bother me as much as some, but it's still a sad one. What was your, speaking of, since we're on the subject, what was the celebrity that bothered you the most when they passed away?
So there have been a few of the recent ones. The Kobe Bryant one kind of hit me. And I don't necessarily know why. I think it was probably because it was him and his kid. And his kid was the one that basically got him back into basketball, and it was just, that one sucked. Other than that, a couple other ones, both Chester from Linkin Park and Chris Cornell, just because of kind of the connection between both of them. But I think those are really mainly the only ones that I've had much of a reaction to. What about you, Jay?
The number one probably for me would have to be Robin Williams. I was not a huge fan of his stand-up. Some of it was funny, but he tended to riff too much. But as an actor and a person, I was a huge fan of Robin Williams. He's, he just seemed like the person I want to be almost. He's always so clever and off the cuff and high energy. And to find out that he killed himself because of depression and mental issues is fucking just heartbreaking. To know that all that shit was an act this entire time when he was fucking sad all of his life, basically.
Well, yeah, and especially a lot of things that he's helped other people through things. There was that whole story with him and Christopher Reeves. You know that one, right?
Bits and pieces, but enlighten me. I might have missed part of it.
So where Christopher Reeves was still in the hospital after he broke his back, all of a sudden Robin Williams busts in full in character as Patch Adams and starts talking about how he's ready to give Reeves a rectal exam or something along those lines. And it was something where, Reeves just busts out laughing, and that apparently changed his entire outlook on the situation he was in. He was like, if I can still find the joy within life, I'm going to be okay. And he pretty much credited Robin Williams in all of that.
I can believe that because, watching some of Robin's dramatic roles as opposed to his comedic roles, I think it gave you a better window into what type of person he actually was. Obviously, he's putting out an act and such, but I feel like Good Will Hunting, the character he played in that, is probably a pretty close to what Robin Williams is like when he's not trying to make jokes. I could be wrong entirely, obviously, but everything I've heard about him, he was such a good person. And to find out that he'd been suffering that much, it just sucked to hear.
Well, and I think a lot of those are the ones that really kind of bug people. If we talk about Chris Cornell or Chester from Linkin Park, you think about two guys that pretty much have it all, and both of those were suicides as well.
Yeah, wow. Yeah, now that you mention it, I guess it's pretty funny that the ones that bother us the most are the ones where they take their own life.
Same thing with a lot of people that got kind of hit pretty hard with the Anthony Bourdain one. I didn't necessarily have much of a feeling for that one because I never really got into anything as far as any books that Bourdain wrote or any of his shows. But like I can see that same thing. It's just one of those things where it just feels like, I think it puts people's own mortality kind of front of mind when they look at these people that they, have likely looked up to, and even they wanted a way out. Like it makes a lot of people that have had those same thoughts think like, God damn, even if I had everything, like I may still want out. Like, why am I still trying?
Yeah, I can see that too. Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's any other celebrity deaths that have bothered me like that one. And I'm sure there has. Not as much, but I'm sure there's other ones that bother me quite a bit. I'm just having trouble thinking about any of them at the moment. And God, this is a depressing topic. Maybe we should move on, huh?
Yeah, goddamn, Jay, you're bringing the entire day down.
Yeah, sorry, man.
First is I'm gonna lose my house, and then let's talk about people killing themselves, and then, goddamn.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, we'll let you do the next topic.
So, good news actually in the world of mixed martial arts. It is confirmed. I don't necessarily know if the date has been confirmed, but it's likely. So Israel Adesanya's next fight will be against the absolute roid monkey Paulo Costa. Looks like September 18th, UFC 253.
That is so weird because I've heard something so much about how you say his name, his first name, Azalea?
Israel Adesanya?
Israel. I was trying to say his last name. I've heard so much about Israel over the last couple years. I've heard barely anything about Costa.
Well, Costa's last fight, I think, was the fight that he beat Romero, but like, I still don't think he won that fight. But maybe that's just me.
Is he not that active? Is that why I'm having trouble thinking about all his fights and stuff? Because physically, obviously, he's memorable.
But yeah, so his last fight was August 17th of 2019. His fight before that was July 7th of 2018. He fights between like once or twice per year.
So he doesn't fight that often.
No.
Okay, that explains it. Yeah, so he just hasn't been on my radar because he doesn't fight that much. What kind of wins does he have to bring him up to this? I mean, obviously,
well, Yoel Romero
win, but that's it. That's
before
his
that.
Big name?
Before that, he beat Uriah Hall. Before that, Johnny Hendricks, but Johnny Hendricks was way past his prime at that point.
Right.
Before that, Alawali Bangbush, Gareth McClellan. Yeah, like not a ton of names, but I mean, he's undefeated. He's 13-0, so there's that part of it, and there's also the fact that obviously he's had a lot of horse meat.
Well, it should be an entertaining fight for at least the first 5 minutes. Has this dude ever did a 5-rounder? Probably not. He's never been in a main event, has he?
No, I don't believe he's ever had a 5-rounder. And thinking about it, like, this is going to probably be no different than what Adesanya did with Romero, where he just stayed away from him and just kind of got in and out with a few bursts here and there. He'll probably wait till the third or fourth round once Costa starts to completely gas by, trying to feed all of that goddamn muscle, and then probably just pick him apart.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Are you watching the fight that's going on now? They have the most weird hand fight going on right now.
Yeah, we may be at different points of the fight. There's not a lot of hand fight going on now. It looks like one guy's trying for a triangle, not getting it.
Okay, yeah, okay. I'm at 30 seconds. I think we were on the same thing. Just before that, they had a lot of weird positions while one was like holding one's hand away from each other, and it was just a weird look.
No, I wasn't super paying attention because it seemed like relatively boring ground fighting.
It was. It was two people defending against each other pretty well, but it made for some odd positions at a time.
Yeah, I missed that one. So I have no idea who's winning this fight. I don't even know who the two people are that are fighting. I know it's a black guy and a white guy.
This is Jackson and Johns, but I don't know who is who. So
this is Montel Jackson against somebody else, and I'm pretty sure I picked Jackson.
Yeah, I think you did as well. So there is that going for you. Let's see. Do I have any topics today? Why not? Right. Let's.
Do you have any happy topics, Jay? You have anything positive or entertaining?
No, nothing. None of it's positive. It's all bad. But we'll go into it anyways. Did you hear about the shark attack in Australia?
No. I saw some things with shark attacks. Was this the one where the lady was getting like loaded into an ambulance and yelling that she still loves sharks? Or is this a different one?
No, this is definitely a different one. Apparently in Australia, a 10-year-old boy is in the hospital after a shark grabbed him off the fucking boat. Uh, Seriously, the shark picked a 10-year-old boy off a boat and dragged him off of it into the ocean. Luckily, his dad jumped in and scared off the shark because that boy was done. Obviously, they were on an 18-foot fishing boat about 2 miles off a shore rather. So the kid is not going to be swimming back regardless what the shark did to him. So his dad definitely saved his life. But what the fuck is going on with Australia where the sharks don't even need water anymore to attack you?
Yeah, I don't know. Like, how far was that kid like hanging off of the boat?
Yeah. I'd have to see video, but I don't know, man. You know, sharks can jump pretty good. We just saw that in Shark Week all the time. Yeah, I remember I made fun of that entire show of just sharks jumping out of water to get something. So, but the kid had to be over the water at some point, right? The shark just didn't do like an arc over the boat, grab the kid, and keep on going like Sharknado or something, right?
Yeah, like that's not a thing that happens in real life. So I don't know what the heck was going on there. I don't know if they were just, hanging the kid over the edge trying to troll up some swordfish or something. But like something sounds like there was either some lazy parenting or something going on.
And at the end of an article on most news sites, they will have links to related articles or stuff like that. And you would be amazed at how many people die from shark attacks in Australia every year. I mean, they had links to like 4 or 5 different stories at the very least, just in the last 3 or 4 fucking months. Don't go in the ocean in Australia. Matter of fact, just don't go to fucking Australia. There's so many things that can kill you there. Jokes aside, I'd love to go to Australia someday. But it's funny how much nasty shit they have over there, really.
So do we just add them to the list now? I mean, we have North Korea, we have Russia, we have Saudi Arabia, we have Iran. Is Australia next?
God, I don't want to put Australia on the list. The people are so fucking cool, There's not much a cooler thing in the world than an Australian, just as a nation. You have to say something for an entire nation of people that live on an island where everything's trying to kill them, and they don't think it's a big deal. I think the only reason Australia hasn't taken over the entire fucking world is because they don't care. There are definitely some tough motherfuckers over there. I don't know. I think I'd like to visit there. I'd like to visit their cities. I'm not sure about going out in the bush or the ocean or anything like that, though.
Well, yeah, I think it's like Sydney, and then that's it.
Yeah. That'd be the place to go. Did you hear Crocodile Dundee is trying to make another movie?
Why are they... This is really the point that Hollywood has gone to shit. Like, is there any new idea anymore? Like, everything just seems to be a rehash.
Yeah, and whenever someone tries a new idea, it doesn't do well. So I can understand why they try to do the same thing over and over again because it's safe. They know people are interested in this. They know when they make Fast and Furious number 42, they have their core audience that's going to go out and watch it regardless of what it is.
Jay, you can go to hell. I will see Fast 68 the day it comes out.
I forgot you were a fan of that genre.
Not really a fan, but I will. It's just one of those things. I will watch it. I think I've gotten to the point that I've watched enough of them that I will at least grit my teeth and roll through it. I think it's the way that you are with DC movies.
Yeah, they're all horrible to various degrees, but since I love superhero movies, I'll probably watch them anyways and then complain about how fucking bad they are. So yeah, I think I can relate to what you're saying about the Fast and Furious movies.
Well, I think I ended up getting drawn in because I had seen all the Fast and Furious movies, and then Paul Walker dies. And it's just like, well, you can't just abandon it now, because now it's just kind of a thing. So I'm stuck with it.
Kind of like me and the OG. I was actually going to quit that fucking place a couple days ago. As you know, I've got the IBS issues, and stress is bad for it. It can set it off quite easy, and that place has been nothing but stress for me for quite a while. But strangely enough, I didn't announce it on the OG or nothing, but I did post on Twitter that I wasn't going to the OG anymore, so I need a new site for news ideas and shit like that. And I had a whole bunch of people email me and ask me not to go, up to and including Kirk, which kind of surprised me. He said people had contacted him and let him know I was being harassed, and he asked if there's anything he could do about it to keep me to stay, which was very nice of the dude. So I already have his fucking phone number, but he was like, "Here's my number again. If you need me to play bouncer and show someone the door, just let me know." And I'm not going to do that. But because fucking that's lame, kicking somebody out just because they're saying shitty shit. But it did remind me that the people that dislike me on the OG are a very vocal minority. At least that's what it seems. And that there are still good people on there. And if I had left the OG, I'd be kind of letting the trolls get what they want. So I'm going to try to stick around. I might change my posting habits somewhat. As I mentioned to you before, if a thread gets too negative to me, I leave it because I don't need that shit. I might just need to learn to leave the OG for the day if it's not doing me good on that day.
I don't know what's happened, but it has gotten so much goddamn more cancerous.
Yeah,
like you say, there's a vocal minority, but like it's gotten to the point that they are the majority of the posts. They're not necessarily the majority of the people, but like they are the majority of the voice you hear anymore. And it's ridiculous. Like we talked about John Lewis passing, and like the OG response is like, oh, well.
Yeah. Well, that's and that is sad. I've been there for about 8 years, and the tone of it has changed. A lot of it's because of the politics that's entered into the OG. No one used to give a shit about politics, or at least not enough to post about it on the OG. But it's gotten really bad in the last 4 years, basically, which is strange. I don't understand what changed so much. I realize social media has evolved the way we live, and I think that's probably what the problem is, because people realize that social media is just another platform like TV or radio. So both formally and informally, they decide to use it for their commercials. Their commercials are about politics. And it's not necessarily a politician putting out his thing, but it's his supporters, which ends up being the same thing. So all you see is post after post about what this person thinks about this and what that person thinks about that. And I've told you my attitude about that entire thing already. You're not going to change my mind about anything you post on the fucking internet. I've already did my research. My mind's made up. That's why I don't post that shit myself, because I do the courtesy of assuming everyone else has also done their research and made up their mind. And this little fucking political meme that I post on Facebook or on the OG or whatever isn't going to change your mind about shit. You're preaching to the choir.
Well, and this is where I think society itself has just taken a horrible downturn these last 4 years. When you have someone that is running the free world that doesn't care at all for truth. Like, we actually have a term called alternative facts now. Like, that's an actual term. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and I suppose that's part of it. I'm as you know, I'm less hard on Trump than you are. I think he's a horrible person, but I don't think he's a horrible president per se. He's not a great one. But most presidents we have aren't great. So I think don't judge him as harshly on that as some.
Well, and so what I'm talking about is completely outside of like doing things as president. It's more the fact that he has made it okay for anything that you don't agree with, despite them being 100% factual or not, being able to just ignore them and call them fake news. And people will do that. Yeah. You can actually post like 100% verifiable, undeniable fact and someone will just ignore it as fake. I'll be like, well, I don't believe that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's become an okay thing to do for some reason. Like, that's never okay.
Yeah. And we had that conversation the other day about COVID, because that's exactly what some people do. You give them a fact that they don't agree with, and they're like, yeah, that's not true. I'm like, it is true. Google it. Oh, no. They control Google. They don't control fucking facts, dude. It's fine if you find what this website you don't agree with it. Keep on Googling. You're going to find 15 other websites that say, what I'm trying to tell you on whatever the argument is. And it's amazing how people can just deny facts. It's like, nope, that's not true. And it's not like we haven't seen that before, because there's all kinds of things out there like the moon conspiracy people and flat earthers and stuff like that, where you can prove them wrong really easy, but they won't believe that the facts that you're showing them are true.
And even the reverse of that. So, like, we had the thread on the OG where somebody posted a tweet, I think, from James Woods that, like, had a picture of a supposed tweet from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez or whatever, AOC, like the...
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, the House member from New York that everyone hates that has the big tits. And it was this tweet that apparently she was like, fuck it, let the economy burn, blah, blah, blah. And it was 100% verifiable that it was fake. And you still had people on the OG saying, well, I don't even care it was fake. It was something that she would say, so fuck her.
Yeah, and that's just ridiculous. And it was hard. I encountered the same thing. I saw it a whole bunch of times on Facebook over the course of a couple days rather. And I tried to correct them. I go, yeah, she didn't post that. Well, how do you know? Well, because there's a website that keeps track of people's deleted posts. Oh, well, I'm like, no, dude, that's really a thing. You can go and look. She never posted that. There's no verifiable proof she did. Somebody edited that shit and photoshopped it and threw that out there. And that's happened to a whole bunch of people, not just her. That happens to President Trump all the time. Happens to basically every politician that's out there of any note. People will try to discredit them by putting out shit that they didn't actually say.
Yeah, and that's the thing, is like people will, like they do on the OG, say, well, I don't even care that it was fake. Like, in my mind, this is something that person would say, so fuck them nonetheless. It's like, what the fuck is wrong with some of you people?
Yeah, that's not necessary. I mean, I'm sure if you dislike a politician like that, you can find plenty of things that they actually said to piss you off. I mean, that's why you don't like them in the first place. You don't really need to throw like falsehoods into it on either side. The entire political thing just sucks like that.
Yeah, and it's just become a thing where everything anymore is a zero-sum game. Like, maybe this is just the fact that as of yesterday, I'm old as fuck. But, like, don't you remember the days that, and, like, let's start with politics, but this is just kind of becoming, like, anything that people think anymore. But, like, don't you remember the days that the politicians that everyone would bring up as being, like, great politicians were the ones that could work with people from both sides and get shit accomplished? And
sure. Yeah, definitely.
And nowadays, the ones that they hold up as the great politicians are the ones that are either the furthest left or the furthest right that refuse to consider anything from the other side.
Right, because now people are like, oh, they're holding to their beliefs. They won't compromise on their beliefs. Well, compromise is fucking necessary. That's how shit gets done. Speaking of like politics and where it was back in the day, there was a time where it'd be inconceivable to start throwing personal insults at a political opponent. You would be considered rude, fucking, and not fit to be a politician. Really, and this is both sides as well. Both sides have taken a tendency of actual insulting the opposition as opposed to giving valid arguments why that they shouldn't be elected and shit like that. And that trickles down big time to regular people. I've said that before. If your political argument with me or statement includes an insult to the dude that you're trying to disagree with, I don't pay attention to what the fuck you have to say anymore. You know, And I'll use Trump because he's a good example. Like I see people call him that orange fucking retard. Okay, as soon as you insult somebody like that, I don't consider your argument valid anymore. And don't get me wrong, that's not just people that dislike Trump. I see the exact same thing on the other side too. People call him Pelosi all kinds of names and shit like that. And that's not necessary to me, dude. Politics has nothing to do with what that dude looks like. And insulting his intelligence doesn't do anything except let me know that you don't really think about the arguments that you're putting forth, but rather you're thinking about trying to insult the person that you disagree with.
Well, I'm even less about that and more just looking over time. You see how people are, and it's become such a team game. What I hate is when I can see that you will not admit or talk about like your side ever doing anything wrong, and also never giving any credit to the other side. Like, those people I have no time for, because it shows you have no critical thinking ability.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, you can't get anything done unless everybody works together. Um, And I realize that there are different political parties for a reason, but there has to be compromise. It's not black and white. The entire world is not black and white. It's many shades of gray. That's why both political parties suck, because they both have good ideas and they both have bad ideas. Um, I don't know, dude. It's just
Well, that's the other thing
oh
that I'm
wow.
seeing a lot on the OG, and it's fucking crazy. And it seems like it's probably because the majority of voices on the OG right now are very much right leaning. But like, you can see the fact, and a lot of this is kind of bore out in some of the polling, and people can fucking throw out polling all they want. But like, the Trump campaign going into this election year is not looking good just by the numbers. Not going to say that that has anything to do with what'll actually happen in November. But you have these people that are just chicken littling every goddamn day. And you see these things of, if Trump doesn't win, like, America is going to fail. And that liberals are like, should be wiped off the face of the earth. They're not real people, or they're not real Americans. And it's just like, how have you gone so far to one side? Like, I guarantee going through a normal day, you go ahead and you stop and you get groceries and you say hi to people. Maybe you have a conversation at line, fucking Starbucks or something. In real life, you are interacting with people from both political parties all the fucking time. And half of those people are going to be the side that you don't agree with. And I'm sorry, they're not terrible people. They're really not. Are there some terrible people on both sides? Absolutely. Like, when you start viewing everything as us versus them, like, you're just a low IQ person that doesn't understand life.
Yeah, and it's funny you mentioned that. There's all kinds of good people. My Facebook is filled with people that I grew up with that have way different political ideas than I do. A lot of them are super duper conservative, to the point where I'm almost embarrassed that I'm friends with them, but I'm still their friend. I might I might stop following them on Facebook until the fucking election's over, because I'm tired of seeing political post after political post. But fucking, I'm not going to unfriend them or something, or think that they're horrible people just because they have different ideas than I do. This COVID thing, on the other hand, has made me kind of want to unfriend some motherfuckers, because that's different than politics. Now you're risking other people's lives because you don't believe that it's serious. But that's a talk for another day, I imagine.
Actually, I think that's a talk for every day right now. Like, the fact that we have all of these people, and we have that story every day of somebody freaking out about is something as small as wearing a mask. We have people running their car into fucking businesses and getting in shootouts with cops. We have people pulling knives on cops. We have people shooting security guards. We have security guards shooting people. We have people pissing on floors over wearing a mask.
I don't understand this at all. Everybody loves Halloween. Everybody looks forward to Halloween. That one day you can wear a fucking mask. Well, dude, you can wear a mask fucking all the time now. It gets to be Halloween all the time, dude. You pretend, you go door to door and trick or treat with it. What the fuck? And for those that don't like the Halloween thing, well, guess what, dude? You're a fucking superhero now. You're out there fighting crime in your mask. Is you know Isn't that enough of a reason to keep a mask on? Oh fuck, dude, you're a fucking criminal. Cover your fucking face. Whatever it's you got to do to get you by on this, fine, But dude, wear a fucking mask.
Well, and why can't we just look at the rest of the world? Like there are countries out there that have this shit figured out already, that are back to normal, exactly what you're supposedly fighting towards. Like you want shit to be back to normal. Like, I'm sorry, fucking just wear a mask for a while and like pay attention to things. Like there's a reason Japan is like back up and running. They have like professional sports and shit going on. They have stadiums full of people. Why? Because they're not so fucking hard-headed as we are and think that it's 5G that's killing us and not a fucking disease.
Yeah, come on, people. Please, I'm asking you, dude. Please just fucking wear your mask for like 2 months. That way I don't lose my job and lose my house and all that good shit. I'm asking you personally, a favor to Passive J over here. Wear your mask for 2 months so that, that my life doesn't go to shit. I realize that's selfish. I'm thinking about me, but sometimes you got to think about me.
Hey, there's your next thread that you can leave after it goes south on the OG. We need to make a meme that says wear your mask or Jay loses his house.
And the OG goes unmasked forevermore. There's enough people on there that's probably how the way it will go.
Well, again, it's because the fucking YouTube comment section of OG would flock to it. That's exactly what they would do. But just think of it that way. Like, I just don't fucking get it. Like, why as a people and why is it goddamn America we're supposed to be the fucking the beacon of hope, the city on the hill as a country, and we can't even get over our fucking own ego enough to say, hey, yeah, maybe when I'm around people right now I should wear a mask. So we can get to the point that we no longer have to fucking wear masks.
Right. And Mr. R, I see your comment there on the chat box. Most adults don't pretend to be superheroes. I realize that. I realize most adults pretend to be a ninja. So if that's what you need to do, that's fine too.
You can even go to Japan and get a degree in ninja studies, like that one guy.
Yeah. That's a bucket list thing for me, definitely. And if nothing else, if you guys can't do it for me because everyone hates the Passive J, do it for my wife. You're gonna make her cry. She's already super stressed out about it. After the show is over, I'm gonna have to go console her because we just found this out today that this shit might be happening. So
do it for everyone that you fucking know that died from this. Do it from everyone that you know that they had somebody that died from this. There are people that have fucking lost loved ones to this disease that a lot of people don't think are shit or don't care enough to keep other people from getting it.
Yeah,
just fucking do it for that.
Yeah. On that note, I think we're gonna call it a show because it's been a fucking depressing show as it turns out. And I don't want to do it anymore. I want to thank the OG Army for showing up. I really appreciate you guys. We couldn't do a show without you. I also want to thank my partner, Big Dalton. Couldn't do the show without him. Dalton, you got anything before we go?
Yeah, I got a couple things. Again, apologies goes out to you guys not being able to hang around and do the fight companion tonight. I've been beckoned by awesome food and beverages, so that's going to be a thing. We'll think of something to make up for it. Whether it be a random fight companion or some other crazy thing we can do. Maybe we can all, sit down and watch, fucking Dirty Dancing or something one of these nights. Have a live commentary. We can all, watch at the same time. Maybe The Notebook.
I mean, you're joking, but that might not be a bad idea for a fun thing to do on Sunday night or Monday night when I can do like more than an hour. we could have a OG movie night where we all just pick out a movie and watch it together and make fun of it.
Either a movie, or we can figure out something where we watch like UFC 1 or something, if we can find a good link that works for everyone. Like, yeah, like we can figure out something where we hang out for a few hours, everybody have a few beverages, and just kind of shoot the shit, boys.
Yeah, that sounds good. What else you got, sir?
The only other thing I have to say, and this goes out to everyone except for fuckers that don't wear masks. Fuck all y'all.
You guys have a great night. We'll see everyone tomorrow at 6. Bye-bye.
Screw you, hippie!